I want to tell you why I bought this very old camera, how manual focusing changed my life for better. I bought this camera a little while back when I was shooting a lot with X100V, and I was coming back home with 2000 of images with continuous modes and everything in focus and a lot of garbage in general. And many times I just dumped it on my hard drive and hardly even looked to the folder because it was overwhelming amount of pictures. How I can slow down a little bit and have some variety in my cameras, because as you know, I shoot with Fujifilm X10. That's my main everyday EDC camera that I always have on me. When I want something different, something to slow down a little bit, not necessarily take a better images, be a little bit more thoughtful about photography and don't come back home with 2000 images worth of garbage. So to tell a little bit about this camera, this is one of the X-Pro series by very popular right now, Fujifilm. I know, it's the X-Pro1. It's the first one from this lineup. I think right now you have X-Pro3 and maybe somewhere around the corner X-Pro4. Of course, the range of these cameras, professional, semi-professional. As you know, I shoot with very basic old Fujifilm X10 and it doesn't matter really for me. I don't need like 40 megapixels, anything like that. What I look into was the colors I get from my pictures. I fell in love with the Astia on my X10 and the black and white on the X10. And when I got X100V, I was not really satisfied with the colors I was getting there. Of course, you can edit everything and do wonders with these raw files and everything. But that was not the idea. The idea was to have a camera that I can shoot JPEGs, be there, put it on my hard drive, select few of my favorite images and post it or not, be happy with it. Just shorten the whole process. So I start to learn what is the difference in the sensors of the Fujifilm cameras. And they are very famous for their X-trans sensors. If you want to learn more about it, you need to Google it a little bit. Basically, these sensors have some different layout of the photoreceptors on the sensor. Some say they get a clearer images. But like every camera manufacturer, they have a different models of the same sensor. And as the years progressed, they have the X-Trans 1, X-Trans 2, X-Trans 3 and so on. So I believe in X100V there's like X-Trans 4 processor that have a little bit different processing. So you get more dynamic range and everything. And my old Fujifilm X10 have the first generation of the X-Trans 1 sensor. This is a lot of technological information that nobody is pretty much interested. But if you want to get a similar results, if you want to get a similar colors, I was looking for the processor that is the same like in the X10 that I'm shooting pretty much every day with. And I started to do my little research and I find out that the same year that the X10 was released, the X-Pro1 was already on the market with the same X-Trans 1 sensor. And also another camera, the XE1, like the semi-professional camera. So I googled a little bit, I went on our local net market and I found XE1 in the same price like X-Pro1. And I went for X-Pro1. I bought just a body for couple thousand kroner, not so much. Actually, for this kind of camera with this price, it was a bargain. Then I bought one manual lens for it, and my friend Michael borrowed me this manual lens that I hold on to, and I hope he never gonna ask me to give it back, but at some point I gonna have to buy my own version of it. And basically, from the day I received this in mail and put a lens on it, I was in my honeymoon phase with the manual focus lens photography. And it was quite a journey. Very quickly you realize that you are not able to keep up with some fast moving scenes like we like to photograph in the street photography genre. You go to the city, you see something, if you don't have the skills to manually focus very fast, you're gonna miss a lot of shots. But then, step by step, you start to learn it. You start to pay more attention to your f-stop. You start to pay more attention in which distance you are. You pay more attention to where to position yourself and how to find the situations you want to photograph. Eventually, you start to question yourself, is it a street photography even possible with manual lens? And I tell you, it absolutely is. I went to some events, I went to some festivals, and I get familiar with manual focusing more and more. To the point when I look now at my pictures, I'm not sure if this was with manual focusing or with my X10. I'm not really sure which camera I was using, because when you are in the moment and you get connected, your brain, your hands and the manual focusing lens all together get connected, you kind of don't think about it anymore. You just leave through your viewfinder, you focus the lens and you take the shots. And that was something new for me, because in the years of technology we have right now, everything is so easy that basically you can just close your eyes and press the shutter and the camera gonna do most of the things for you. But this was not something I was looking for. I was looking for a little bit more thoughtful photography. I know this might be a little extreme, but it suits me very well. In many cameras you have option to switch for manual focusing. But when you have autofocus in your camera, probably you rarely use it. I know maybe a couple of persons that do that intentionally. They turn off the autofocus on their lens and they just go for it. But me, when I have the autofocus camera, I'm just gonna use maximum benefits out of it. For example, my X10 camera, I have it always on autofocus, because the manual focus with the back ring over there is a little bit extra hassle when you have to turn this little dial in the back to get something in focus, and that's a camera for totally different purpose. With that one, I have a lot of fun. And when I come back home to review the images, and even if I get something like slightly out of focus, then I can decide if it's better, if it's worse. Oh, I missed that shot. Oh, but I got this one. It's like, in a way, when you early start to get this like shots in focus, it's super rewarding and you feel very good about yourself that you managed to get something in focus, you know? This is something like a small extra challenge that can keep you motivated to get these shots. But another reason why I went for the full manually lenses, it's because how wide open apertures they can get. And I'm not gonna photograph everything in this bokeh and with blurred backgrounds and everything, but I like to have that option. So my 35mm that go to f/0.95 and this little 25mm goes as wide as 1.8. It can change the way you photograph. You can photograph in a darker situations, or you can use this artistic tool to blur the background and separate your subject a little bit. It's not always gonna work, but you have that option over here. With Fujifilm X10, you can get these blurred backgrounds. You have to go to your longest focal length, minimal aperture, and position yourself in the right distance from your subject to get like this separation. Because even if X10 have the widest aperture at f2.0, it's a very, very tiny sensor. So the separation is minimal over there. That's it, I guess. I bought this to slow down a little bit with thousands of images I was taking, to be a little bit more thoughtful with photography, and to get that separation when I go out and shoot. Generally, it's just another tool in my tool set, but I'm very glad that I get it. I believe a camera like that should be in everyone's possession to discover another skill that you can acquire and maybe help you if you are struggling with motivation to go out and shoot, to get another challenge and some reward from getting some different interesting shots. I think that's all for today. That's what I want to say about this camera. I shoot with few different cameras and I'm still torn which one is my favorite, but of course, many of you know I'm always coming back to my Fujifilm X10. Like this channel, it should be named Fujifilm X10 channel because I have so many videos about this camera. And doesn't matter which camera you use, just go out there, take some amazing pictures, happy shooting, watch some other videos, and see you in the next one. And I also bought it because it looks like Leica that I can't afford.